Hi there, and welcome to the What Keeps You Up at Night workshop. This is Steve Jensen, and it's an absolute delight to have you here with us today. One of the big things is, hey, I've got to recruit the right people. So I'm going to give you some of the secrets of taking away the guesswork of hiring and motivating a dream team. And this is quite an important thing to start with, because ultimately our team is our business. So let's get cracking. Now, these little workshops are to give you some absolute nuggets to take away and implement. And the one thing that I'd want you to remember is, firstly, have an intention. What is your intention? And the intention has to be, hey, let's get a team of people that are saying, yes, I can do this, I want to do that, and I'm motivated. So let's give you some tools to take away. The first thing is identify who you need. Who's the person? What's the right fit? Now, every business is different. You know, there's a driving person, there's a nurturing person, and these are quite important things to discuss with your team members and also your directors to find out who is that right person, because ultimately it has to be in line with your job description. Now, I've been to so many businesses that the job descriptions are quite Spartan. Strongly recommend that you have a job description that has clear tasks. Make sure the duties are really understood, and there is a way of actually measuring how the person's going to be successful. And that's a workshop in itself, but I'm going to go through with you today and just make sure that we get the right people. First thing is, how do we attract? Now, for years, we've actually been talking about recruitment. Let's recruit this person. Well, ultimately, the recruiting has died. We have to attract the people. And if you want the good people, you have to have an attractment process. How do we attract the good ones to come along and want to be part of your team? That's a good question, isn't it? Well, you need to learn how to interview. Because you might get the right people to come along and say, hey, I'd like to know about the job. But then we actually get them to the interview and they're uninspired by the interview. And gone are the days of actually just doing the interview and being the big boss and trying to bombard these people. There are so many good quality people and there are lots of opportunities for them. So get the good ones to be actually wowed by you and your business, and make sure that we have a process that actually allows them to be themselves. I've been in lots of interviews where people have just bombarded people with a ton of questions, and the poor person on the other side of the table is really feeling, how can we say, intimidated, and you're not really getting a good feel. I strongly recommend that you give them a coffee, get them to sit down, relax, and have a little bit of small talk from the get-go, because you want that person to relax. And I'll give you some tools in a moment to help that person relax, and you can talk about things that are not just pertinent to the job, but really pertinent to the person. The next thing is, how are you going to inspire the person? That's a good question. Inspiration is something that people are craving. They want to be in a business that's going to, teach them things, help them grow, nurture them, but also, challenge them a little bit. I strongly recommend that in your intention is that you want to inspire this person to want to be part of your team. And you've got to have things that you're going to show them, that you're going to give them, and what you're going to teach them. So let me show you some ways to do that. Now, the first place is to say, well, where do I find these people? Now, if you've got some great people already in your business, hey, birds of a feather flock together. Ask your team members, hey, have you got any friends that could do this job? Go to your inner circle, and people that are really good usually hang out with people that are really good. So the first thing is, ask your team members for recommendations. This is really easy to do because they'll want to attract their buddies along if it's a great job and it's a great opportunity for them to grow. The next thing is, make sure that you understand that when you ask a person to be a salesperson, for instance, a like attracts like. Now, usually a administration person will have people in their, let's say their social circle, that will do more administration things. So when you're asking your staff members and your team members to say, hey, who do you comes to mind? Well, remember, they'll probably recommend people that can do the job that they're pretty good at. So attract people that are fans. Now, this could be into your database of clients, members, people that use your business, people that pay money at your business will actually love to be part of that business. And if I regularly see people going to health clubs and studios and all sorts of companies that absolutely are raving fans of the business and would love to represent them. But we don't ask them. So, advertise to people that are already paying for your business. The next thing is people that refer your business are usually going to be the raving fans. If people are recommending that they should come to your business on a regular basis, they're the ones, you could say, hey, who do you know that could be part of our business and keep our customers happy just like you? You'll be surprised at how many people will openly recommend someone if your business has the right culture. So, advertise in your business. It's really simple. Put something up, in an area where people can see it. Make sure there's a poster and say, hey, career opportunities, looking for X, looking for Y, and we'll do this for you. So let's give you point number 3. Now, number 3 is working with the process of attractment. There's a new word. I'm not real, fussed about this recruitment process. Recruiting, as I said, died many years ago. We have to attract the good ones. Now, if you want good people, you've got to work for it. First thing is, let's treat the advertisement that you're going to be putting out into the marketplace as a marketing piece. And it's going to be a sale. It's going to be selling that person to come in and be part of your business. So first thing is, create some punchy copy that explains the position and also make sure that you make it really clear on what you're going to be able to do for them and also what you need them to do for you. Now, some of the areas that you can advertise in, or some of the places you could advertise in, is Indeed. It's actually a pay-per-click. It's really great. Seek has been around for a long time. Your local online media, all of your social media is a good place to start advertising. Again, it's about attractment, not just saying there's a job available. Tell them what you're going to do for them, what the fun you have, and the opportunity for growth. Next thing is, make sure you know what your brand is. What is your brand? Who are you? What do you stand for? In your ad, make sure that you are really clear on what your brand is. And people are really attracted to a business that has a brand which is exciting or has had stood the test of time. So, next thing is, how are you different? Isn't it interesting when we go out to market and we do marketing, we talk about our USPs. Well, we need to use our unique selling point or position to attract the right people to come into your business. So write down just three of the key unique selling points of your business and say, hey, this is how we're different. This is how we are different to our team. This is how we're different to the marketplace. And get that person really excited about representing your brand. Now, next thing is explain the type of person you're looking for. So in your ad, tell them that they need to be charismatic or they need to be detailed orientated. Whatever you need, make it very clear in your advertisement so you can really nail it. Sometimes these advertisements are, really wishy-washy. Make sure it's really clear, and the more specific, the better. Now, the next thing is, what were they going to be doing for your business? If they're going to be doing sales, don't hide it. If they're going to be doing a lot of phone work, you need to tell them up front in the ad so the person that applies for the ad says, wow, I can do that, or I'd like to learn how to do that. Make it really clear what they'll be doing. Now, it just has to be a few bullet points in the advertisement, and then when you do your interview over the phone, you can then explain it a little bit further. The next thing is, one of the things is when you're doing the advertisement, what you're looking to do is to have the person want to join your amazing team. So it's not just the business. Talk about the people in your business. Yep, they'll be working with an amazing team of a manager or a mentor or whoever's involved, and tell them that they're going to be working with a lot of people, and make reference to one or two of them. So this is pretty straightforward. This is an attractment process, not a recruitment process. Times have changed. We have to change our way of attracting the right people into our businesses, and this is called attractment. Last but not least, show them what they're going to be doing and how they're going to grow. Guys, let me just tell you now, growth and opportunities, especially with some of the younger people now, this is critical in the ad, but also in the interview stage. So please, have a look at this, make sure that you're doing these types of things, it's only 7 steps, and start working with attractment. Now, the next part of the process of attracting the right people into your business is what sort of experience are you looking for? Now, assess what's important. So when you get the person in front of you, have some things that you get them to do. Now, isn't it interesting when some people are going to be doing sales? Well, you can't just get them to do a sale. In the olden days, they say, sell me this pen. But what you might want to do is to say, hey, we have a phone prompt, why don't you read it to me and see if their tone is right. If they're a person in administration and they're doing a lot of spreadsheets, get them to type up a spreadsheet. If they have to be awesome at spelling, give them a little spelling test. It's fun things. But get them to do things that they're going to do when they're in your business. Now, they maybe have never done it before, but they might want to show you they have an aptitude to do it. It's absolutely essential that you are really clear, and when you interview, you get some actually the person showing you, not just telling you, but showing you what they can do. The next thing is, invite the prospective team member to experience your business. Now, they might be a member, or they might be a client, they might be someone using the business fabulously, but let's make sure we get them to experience your business. Get them to do a class. Get them to, let's say, have an experience. Get them to participate in whatever you do. Absolutely essential, because what we want to do afterwards is then you want to have a bit of a debrief to find out how they found your business. They want to love that product. Especially if they're a salesperson or they're going to be a manager, they've got to be a person that absolutely wants to immerse themselves in your business. Just like a Malteser is immersed in chocolate. You want passionate people. Sometimes we get people that say the right things, but when let's say they do a class, or you say, hey, how did you like it? And they say, oh, it's pretty good. You want them absolutely glowing, and you'll know the people that really love it. And I strongly recommend you get them to have an experience, get them to come and do what they have to do, just for a little bit of a show and tell for an hour or so, and say, hey, this is just a bit of a part of the interview process. Love to get your feedback on what we do. For instance, if salespeople have to do outreach, for instance, get them to go with someone that does outreach. If they have to do a telephone call, get them to listen to some telephone calls. If they want to sell a class or an experience of personal training, well, get them to have an experience and say, hey, did you like the class? Did you like the training? Then get feedback. If you don't get feedback, you won't know. The next thing is, and I'm a big advocate of this, is assessing the person's behavior. Now, not whether they're a good or a bad person. Hopefully you'll be doing that in some of your reviews. But one of the things that we do a lot of, and a lot of my clients now are working with, understanding their DISC. Now, some of you know what DISC is, and some of you don't. Well, DISC is about predictable behavior. And there's primary and secondary and low behaviors. These are seismographics that we get people to complete, and the reports are not expensive, but they're so valuable. But there's been an addition to DISC. The one thing that has become incredibly important is finding out what the person's values are. If you are driving somebody in sales to actually make lots of money for you and trying to dangle lots of commissions in front of them, well, let me tell you right now, if they're not driven to make money on return on investment, it's all about harmony and truth, you won't be able to drive that person correctly. That doesn't say they won't be successful in sales, but you need to know what their workplace drivers are. What are their values? You can have a behavior, a certain A behavior and a B behavior. Guess what? That's fine, but you need to work with their values. So we do its full report now. It's really fantastic. There's lots of them about. This is, if you can see on the screen now, this is just a small report. I'm more than happy to give that to you. So just get in contact with me and I'll give this to you. There's other ones that we do, which is our full reports. These are our full values and disc report, which makes making the decision much easier. And they give you a complete value assessment. So if you want someone that's driven, loves people, doesn't have to have a massive eye for detail, are driven for return on investment and having control, well, guess what? This will tell you have the right person. Isn't it interesting that in an interview situation, people will tell you what you want to hear? Unfortunately, there are two behaviors. There's the one at home and there's one at work. Under pressure, people will always revert back to their home behavior. So it's good for you to know. Anyway, this is not a report process and training. It's about saying, hey, this is a tool. If you need any more information, just let me know. More importantly, understand that the person needs to complete a little questionnaire prior to their interview. And this is going to help you enormously. I'm going to give you an example of this in a moment. These questions are things that you can ask questions about their answers. Instead of bombarding this person with a whole lot of questions, it gives them a little bit of heads up of what you're going to talk about. And it's a little bit left field, and I'll show you how that works. The last thing here is one thing that I feel is critical, is let the person relax. Please, you want to hire this person or get this person involved in your team and them to show you who they really are. It's pretty difficult in an interview situation because most people are nervous. But let me just tell you, do your very best to relax this person, give them a cup of tea, relax a little bit, and slightly informal but highly professional. And make sure that you hire behavior first. Secondly, attitude. Now, some of the questions you need to ask have to be around attitude. And when you ask a question about attitude, always ask for an example. If you say, hey, look, when was the time you were under stress and you were, under budget and you had a lot of stress? What happened? This happened. Give me an example. Tell them about things that they've learned. Tell them to ask them things. Say, hey, what is your biggest weakness? Or what is the area that, if you had a conflict with one of your team members, how did you resolve that? Give me an example. And, if you had an objection with a sale, what did you say? Now, that's a skill component. And when you failed, what did you do? Ask them good questions and then relate to it. And always try to make the person feel comfortable in giving you the truth. So, last but not least, after about 7 to 10 minutes, most of the time, you'll know. You'll have a feeling about the person. And please, how many times have we ever got into an interview and say, hey, we're really desperate for this person. Look, I don't know, but we'll give them a go. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, your gut is right. Listen to that intuition. It is a wonderful thing that we have. And, if it doesn't feel right, there's a reason. Now, we're getting to the end of our little mini workshop here, and there's some areas I'd like you to cover just before we wrap it up. Firstly, when you're doing your referee check, always ask good questions. Not say what were they like and just be relatively generic. Make sure that you ask the person, would you rehire this person? And they might say, yeah. I say, well, why would that be? Give me 3 reasons that you would rehire them. And what would you pay them? Now, if they would pay them an absorbent amount of money, that's fantastic. If they were a little bit hesitant, well, ask the reasons why. The next thing is, strongly recommend, ask them about, hey, when did you ever realize that your applicant had a challenge? And how did they resolve it? Ask for some examples. Now, they might not have them. But most of the time, if it's a manager that's been working with their team members and it's a good referee, they'll be able to give an example. Ask a few questions about the example. The next thing is ask about their biggest weakness. Yes, what's their weakness? And give me some examples of that weakness and what did they do and what did you guys do to actually rectify it? And just to give me a bit of a heads up. Now, these are questions that are really going to give you an insight on how this person operates. It's easy to say someone's fantastic, it's a wonderful person. Are they honest? They say, oh, yes. And say, well, how do you know they're honest? So ask these questions and ask for a little bit of clarity. Big one, number 4. What were 2 things they thought your applicant needed to work on and why? Now, Everybody has things they need to work on. Find out what they were. Now, there might not be things they need to work on with your business, but it gives you an insight of what they did. They might have done nothing. They might have done tons of things. Now, biggest strength. This is an easy one, and they'll always give you some good feedback, but always ask questions. Hey, give me an example. And the whole essence of a referee call is to get examples. Ask them why. Give them it, for instance. Give me a situation. Now, in your interview, by the way, I do strongly recommend that you go off the page a little bit and, ask them questions about, what are things that are important in their lives, what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years' time, and how you could be of assistance. How would you like this, the business to be of assistance? Okay. Here's some pre-interview question examples. And again, if you'd like to have this sheet, please let me know. I'm more than happy to send it across to you. Again, you just want to find out a little bit about them. So they do this by themselves, writing these answers down, or you might even give them before they turn up. But these are just some examples. I'm sure you could add or subtract or whatever the case may be. You ask them what their passion is and what makes them laugh. Isn't that interesting? It's great to have a sense of humor, but it's also good to ask a few questions about these answers. Well, I'm happiest when? Well, when are they most happy? And isn't it interesting that you'll get so many different answers to these types of questions? Another good one is, hey, I get angry and upset or sad when? Good question to ask, because, tell me the last time that happened. What did you do? These are just some examples. The thing or things that hinders my progress are. It could be A, it could be B, and say, okay, would you like us to help you with that? So it gives you an indication of what you could possibly give them. So there's some examples. Here's a second lot of examples. Right now I'm feeling. They might say happy, excited, whatever. Ask them why. Again, what do they believe in? They believe in honesty or loyalty. I don't know. You never know the answer to these questions unless you ask. We always guess, don't we? My daydreams are about, going on holidays or, playing football or whatever it may be. So some of the things that are important to the person. This gives you some good conversation pieces to have a chat about. And the last questions here are quite straightforward. When I think about my future, I see myself, well, hopefully it's with your business. It might not be. And just ask them a question, well, give me an example of that and why is that? Another question here, 2 things I enjoy doing least at work are. I actually had someone complete this and it was said telephone work and filling in their paperwork. And that was for a sales position. And then the number one thing they had to do was to get on the phone. So that probably wasn't a good fit. Look, what must never happen at work? That's an interesting communication. And I'll ask them why. And then say, what are 2 things that always must happen at work? It gives you an indication of what's important to this person. I love the last question here. The last time I had a gut laugh was, and you see if they have a sense of humor and they'll have a bit of a giggle with you. And this will also relax the person because they'll be thinking about laughter. So I hope those questions are helpful. If, as I said, if you'd like an example of some of them or those sheets in general, please let me know. Last but not least, have a well-planned induction. It's really 50% is getting the person excited. The next thing is, if we want to create that dream team and not have the wrong people stay, induct them well. I have been to so many businesses where the process is okay, but the induction is poor. So here's some examples. When you do your training, please train them why they're doing it. It goes hand in hand with their job spec. And make sure you do a show, tell, do. Please take this on board. We do training all around the world. Please don't give them a tell fest. You have to do this and you have to do that. They'll nod their head, but that won't teach them a thing. Next thing is, link your team member to a mentor. Now, their mentor isn't a brand new person. It's going to be a brand champion, a person that is a performance superstar. Because you know what? You want to have that person emulating the champions. A lot of people just stick them in with the new guy or the person in the back, and they don't learn from the best. That's the best way to, after the training that you do, is to get them to really emulate that team leader. Next thing is train with an open book on using ongoing quizzes. I strongly recommend that you have like a fun quiz that you do. And for the next 2 weeks, they go and get all the answers. And you might even give them a manual that they need to complete. And they should be an ongoing fun quiz for a couple of weeks and come back and they can open book, ask lots of team members and fill it in and then go through it with them and see what they've done. It also means that they have a deadline and they get things completed. It's a really great tool. Next thing is, again, back to that job description. Make sure it's clean. A clear, concise job description you can always go back to. Tick it off. Make sure that you spend time reviewing that job spec. So here's the secret. After 2 weeks, sit down with your new team member, mark their fun quiz, have a few laughs, and ask to confirm, if they knew how all of their tasks were done, and give me examples and tick it off on their job description. Don't just say, do you know it? Do you know it? By the way, so many people just get their job description and put it in the drawer. I strongly recommend that you do your training that aligns to your job description, your tasks and your duties, and have this little fun quiz that makes them learn those things. And then make sure that they show you they can do it. Demonstrate that what's in your job spec they can do after 2 weeks. This means that your induction is done, your fun quiz is completed, and this gives them a good grounding to make sure you create that enthusiastic person that's going to be part of your team and is excited, and it sets them up for success. And then plan. The plan is show them how you're going to grow them. Make sure that they're going to have growth and support, training, and reinforcement. Absolutely critical with this day and age of people that they're looking to grow, and they need to be, have a mentor, have someone that's continually reviewing things. Don't leave people just, if they're very, very good, just doing the same old. They'll actually get bored. Well, this is a bit of an overview of how to create and attract people into your business, and some of the things you can do just to eliminate some of the pitfalls to having people that are not the right fit. So, at the end of the day, we want to say, hey, I want your team members saying, I can't wait to start my new career. Now, if I can help you in any other way, please let me know. What comes with this little workshops is a free Skype mentoring and implementation session. Please contact us. We can book it over the internet and just give you some help, and I have tons of questions. All right, hope that helps. Please implement and let me know about some of your successes. Okay, it's Steve Jensen, Dr. J, signing off.